scandals on this channel before, but this one sucks just a little bit more for me, just because, it's close to home. It's my national team. But before we get into this, I want to say a huge thank you for 25,000 subscribers. It is unreal. It felt like such a reach goal not too long ago, like a stretch goal. And it's just so heartwarming to see that there's, quite a few of us out there enjoying these videos and just having fun, hanging out together. So I want to thank you so much for subscribing. We'll do a proper celebration video soon, but thank you for subscribing and watching the videos, joining in the conversation. I am on cloud 9 this week, which, to be honest, is exactly what I need, because it comes at the same time as this just embarrassing, shameful news of the Canadian women's soccer team cheating at the Olympics. We'll call it what it is. It is cheating. And if you think you've heard the whole story, stick around, because I'm not sure that you have. It turns out that this goes a lot deeper than just this one drone use, and I'm making this video the morning that it comes out. So I've got up to the minute news, but surely there's gonna be more to come. So there's probably gonna be a part 2, a part 3 to this video. So let's talk about it. Let's go back to the beginning, just like a month ago, a week ago, let's say, because I was really excited for football at the Olympics. The Canadian women's team was, or I guess is, defending the gold medal. And then early on Wednesday, July 24th, the Canadian Olympic Committee announces that 2 members of the coaching staff, an assistant coach and an analyst, were being sent home. Reason being, they flew a drone to observe, you could say spy on, and you would not be wrong, the New Zealand team's practice. Canada is in the group stage with New Zealand, France, and Colombia. So they flew the drone on Monday, or at least that's when they were caught doing it. We found out later that they spied at least one other time a few days earlier. And so it was reported by the New Zealand Olympics Committee to the police and to the International Olympic Committee's integrity unit. The police caught this analyst retrieving the drone that was flying over the practice. And they ended up finding footage of those 2 training sessions. The one that was actively being filmed and then the one from a few days prior. And they also ended up obtaining text messages between the analyst and the assistant coach that basically reportedly showed that the assistant coach was aware that the analyst was doing this. And ultimately, the French prosecutor's office said that the analyst was arrested, admitted his guilt, and accepted an 8-month suspended sentence. And then the assistant coach was interviewed and exonerated. I guess knowledge of the crime isn't enough to be like booked. Okay. Then, deep breath. The head coach of the team, Bev Priestman, removed herself from the New Zealand match. So it turns out, I don't know if it turns out is the best way to say it, because it should be no surprise since this is the team that they were spying on. My hair doesn't want to be part of this video. It's the shame. Bev Priestman removed herself from the New Zealand match, from coaching the team for the New Zealand match. Now, how much of that was actually her decision, we'll come back to it. But the committee, the Canadian Olympic Committee, issued a statement attributed to her that said, "On behalf of our entire team, I first and foremost want to apologize to the players and staff at New Zealand Football and to the players on Team Canada. This does not represent the values that our team stands for. I am ultimately responsible for conduct in our program." Obviously, they had to apologize. It's not a step that they could skip, but, and you might know, you might not know, I am Canadian. I think an apology is not enough. Cheating at the Olympics is not a situation where you don't ask for permission, you ask for forgiveness. And I think it's completely unfair to not only New Zealand, but every team participating in this tournament. The teams not participating in the tournament who, had they qualified, would not have cheated. I also really feel bad for the players on Team Canada, because I truly have no reason to think that they would have had any knowledge of this. And we have such a crazy talented squad, but any success now in this tournament and any past success under Bev Priestman, including the Olympic gold medal from Tokyo, is rightfully going to be called into question. I mean, winning football, winning in football, there's like two main components, right? Player ability and tactical ability. And there's no doubt, there's no question here about the player ability. But the tactics that are being applied are now a complete sham. And it's this weird thing of, it's weird because I was singing Jesse Marsh's praise a couple weeks ago at Copa America, but it's like, okay, so now we have this coach who's not Canadian, and a big part of winning a gold medal is under her leadership. So this is just part of the broader conversation of should coaches from other countries be able to coach a country that they're not citizens of in international competitions. Again, I'm not gonna say that I'm against the idea, because I'm really happy with Jesse Marsh right now. But all this to say that the tactics that are coming from someone who's not Canadian, doesn't matter if they're Canadian or not, half of the battle, or at least like a good third of the battle, is now a joke. Anyway, the statement from Bev Priestman goes on to say, accordingly, to emphasize our team's commitment to integrity, I have decided to voluntarily withdraw from coaching the match on Thursday. So yesterday, if you're watching this video on the day that it comes out. In the spirit of accountability, I do this with the interests of both teams in mind, and to ensure everyone feels that the sportsmanship of this game is upheld. Now again, keep in mind that this statement was released on Wednesday. There's been more developments since then that we will talk about. But to say that she has the interests of both teams in mind, I just think the players of Team Canada were completely let down here, because you can remove the coach from be actively participating in the match, but you can't undo the cheating that has already happened and the knowledge that has already been shared throughout the organization. And so removing the coach does not do enough in anyone's eyes to restore sportsmanship in this match. By the way, I haven't seen anyone talk about this, but just a fun fact. Bev Priestman is married to a former midfielder from the New Zealand football team. So, just a weird coincidence that I wanted to slip in there. And if you don't know her CV, she was assistant coach with the Lionesses, the England national team, for 2 or 3 years before becoming the Canadian head coach, just in time for the Tokyo Olympics. Won gold, but then they were eliminated in the group stage of last year's World Cup. And she is or was, we'll see what happens, contracted through the 2027 Women's World Cup. But back to what I was saying earlier about her. How voluntarily do we really think Priestman's absence from the New Zealand match was? Well, yesterday, July 25th, Canada Soccer suspended Priestman for the remainder of the tournament, and then the Canadian Olympic Committee went, oh yeah, we're removing her from the team. And look, I do want to say, to be fair, to recount all sides of this, that Bev Priestman is adamant that she had no knowledge of the spying and the drone being used. But today, July 26th, the CEO of the Canadian Olympic Committee confirmed in a press conference that they had gathered additional information, I think is the way he put it, that allowed them to conclude that Priestman was highly likely to have been aware of the drone use in France. Now this comes off the back of a report by Rick Westhead from TSN, which is like our ESPN, that, I'll just read off the quote here. Coaching staff and contractors working with Canada's men's and women's national soccer teams have been engaged for years in efforts to film the closed-door training session of their opponents, including during the women's gold medal winning Olympic tournament in 2021. So this is apparently, according to two sources with first-hand knowledge. I would expect that TSN would do their due diligence here. And what the fallout from this report makes you think that these sources are legit. The report goes on to say the filming also included at least one training session before a women's national team game against Panama in July 2022, when Canada was attempting to qualify for the Women's World Cup in Australia. In that case, a Canadian contractor was caught attempting to film a private Panama training, and a complaint was made by the Panamanian Football Federation to Canada Soccer and to CONCACAF. I feel like we should have heard more about it back then. So, after that report, that story was initially published by TSN, Kevin Blue, the CEO of Canada Soccer, released a statement saying that they had obtained new information regarding unintentional cliffhanger. They had obtained new information regarding previous drone use against opponents that predates the 2024 Olympics. One of the sources from the Rick Westhead report said the spying included a Team Canada coach filming two of Japan's closed outdoor training sessions during the Tokyo Olympics. So probably in relation to that, TSN also reviewed text messages of a women's national team coach discussing secret filming of their opponents' training sessions ahead of games in 2022 against Costa Rica, South Korea, and Trinidad. And there's a lot of talk about people in the organization being told that it was part of their job and that if they didn't spy, that they would be out of a job. But that's just so discouraging to me, because I wonder why there wasn't a single whistleblower. Like, I don't think we can defend the spies, the cheaters, by saying that their jobs were on the line, because there were other ways. There were other ways. So now, well, both FIFA and Canada Soccer announced investigations into this. Canada Soccer said that its investigation would be conducted by an independent third party, which is the only way it could be, and that the investigation findings will be made public. So again, expect at least a part 2 to this video. Meanwhile, Canada won the match against New Zealand yesterday. Yay! It seems right now that there won't be any points deductions or a disqualification for Canada, but FIFA and the IOC could still come down with sanctions, so we don't really know yet. And I don't really know how to feel about it, because my gut says that we should be disqualified. The only thing that makes sense. But at the same time, like I said, I feel so bad for the athletes who are the ones who are there to compete, and as far as you can tell, they didn't have any knowledge of this. But let me know what you think in the comments. I'm gonna go punch the air a little bit. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, and I'll see you soon in the next